So let's come back together and let's have each group just share out kind of in general what were the reflections that you shared with each other.
So Emily and I, of like the three things of the relationships we were thinking about, there were a lot of overlaps. Like reciprocity and was definitely a piece of that. Emily had lack of judgment. I had trust. I think there's that piece. Availability, you know, like being able to share in experiences. Kind of what we had, we're grown up, or you know, you get what you give, or like if you want to be have a friend, you need to be a friend. Another thing I had was that, you know, relationships can have many different roles and purposes in your life, and so you foster them because they're important, but there's different pieces. I don't remember what.
Mine was the kind of like that, you know, relationships are what matter most in the end, is kind of the thought, yet we don't always really value that in our day-to-day, is how important they are.
Yeah. Then we talked about, like, with kids, I think one thing that is really important to me, well, there a couple. One is being engaged and focused, which I feel like in today's world with like social media, I have to put pretty stringent boundaries on myself not to have my phone and things because it's so easy, but also then just not to be distracted in your own head. But also being reflective and honest. So I think about my own kids, and they had a really bad day last week and had a mommy meltdown, if you will, in tears, but being able to tell like my older son, like I'm just really sad and explain why, and or if I've been distracted, I'll say like, I'm sorry, like I'm distracted, I'm gonna put my phone, you know, so so they can see like that metacognition. So
yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Next group, we'll just go around.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of common overlap in the values around what makes a relationship.
You know, felt like that really having those shared interests, common goals, really feeling like you know, dependability, fun with each other. I think when we talked about our childhood, I think Leanne was sharing more that she was raised in more of a strict kind of a household. You know, she was talking about, you know, spare the rod, spoil the child kind of thing, and how she doesn't parent that way. And so kind of, I think you looked at some of how you were parented and did things differently.
That worked for me.
Right.
Worked for my brother parents that way, which makes me crazy. I have to tell you that my sister and I both parent very different than our parents did. So.
Whereas, you know, my family was basically fairly open, almost to the point of sometimes you need to pull back a little bit before speaking your mind and thinking about things before you open your mouth. So I think we always had choices, and then with those choices were pros and cons, and thinking about the consequences, really being thoughtful about what those consequences are before you make decisions. And I think I try to do that with Jordan, to say, you know, these are your options. What are your options? Asking, and then what are your choices? Which one looks best for you? For that type of way. And so I try to do the same thing when I work with students or adults in the school. I think a lot of these techniques work with adults too, giving them as much power and control within boundaries, the parameters of choice, and knowing that the choices that they make do have consequences, positively or negatively.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Candace and Audrey.
Definitely just to echo what everyone else said too, just some of those attributes in a supportive relationship or in relationships. So just, you know, things like being supportive and non-judgmental, having fun in each other's presence, you know, having that trust factor, definitely building blocks to healthy relationships or satisfying relationships.
Make sure you treat people the way you would like to be treated. Being thoughtful. And being a thought partner for the other one.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks everyone for sharing. I'm gonna move on to some research around relationships. And Lisa's gonna take this section.
So we've got the research itself, which in every session there's going to be research embedded to it, showing that this is the evidence-based practice, right? So we're talking about that response, and we'll show later on as they're littler, it's that response to, and then the continuum grows to management of skills. But we really want kids to feel secure in their relationships, to show them that people can be safe, that we build these good relationships, and that goes through adulthood. Like everybody here was talking about those great relationships they had. And then